The second game of the Black Coaches Classic is the last game of the day from a 3-game tilt at the Harbor. Women's basketball taking their matchup over Clark University earlier in the day, and now the men take the court against Lesley. I'm Milton Posner coming to you live from Clark Athletic Center on the campus of UMass Boston for a matchup between a couple of teams that are still looking for their identities early in the season. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for the moment, we're going to give you the season statistics for both of these squads before the anthem kicks off. As you can see here, UMass Boston coming in with a higher average in points allowed, a lower average in points allowed, a higher average in points per game. They're winning in just about every category except for the shooting category. That's where head coach Devin Mayo of the Lynx feels like his Lesley team is strongest. We'll break down these categories a little more as we go on. But for the moment, we're going to give you the sneak peek at the Beaks, see what else is going on in the world of UMass Boston sports this weekend. Like I mentioned, it has been a busy weekend. Women's basketball defeating Clark earlier in the day. Women's ice hockey is going to be squaring off against Colby tomorrow at home. Men's ice hockey is going to be taking on Colby later in the day. And then finally, this one. It's the 15th annual Codfish Bowl in progress for both the women and the men, hosting a neutral site game here at the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink as well. We're going to step aside briefly for the anthem and be right back with the opening tip between the Beacons and Lynx here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. With the anthem sung, it is time for the starting lineups. And as our PA man, Chris Del Sordo, reads them out, we'll give them to you on the screen. We'll start with the visitors from Lesley University, the Lynx. And starting off for them, it's going to be the same cast they have been using, with a couple of injuries notwithstanding. It's the same unit they have used all 5 of their games. Hezekiah Brown and Christian Castro in the backcourt, along with DJ Alexander in arguably the third guard spot. And at the forward spots, Malachi Howard, the team leading scorer at 13 points per game, one of their more versatile players, alongside Scott Barlow. And for Jason Harris's UMass Boston Beacons, the starting lineup also looks fairly similar. They have played only 3 games as they come into this one 1 and 2. That starting lineup is going to be the same ones they have used: Malik Lorquette and Tommy Burris, Xavier McKenzie, Emmanuel Zayas, and Mariano Oliver Rodriguez. I'm going to run you by the keys to the game really quick, as we are just about ready to get things going. But the keys to the game for UMass Boston: limit the turnovers. This is something they have gone up and down with through their first 3 games. It was a loss to Bridgewater State by 12, a 13-point win over Salve Regina, and a 1-point loss to Colby Sawyer. Control on offense. This was also a big one. Malik Lorquette has been playing well. Everybody else, it's been a little bit up and down. They're still trying to find their offensive identity. They're still trying to find their major contributors, as well as which contributor slots into which spot. And of course, crashing the boards. This is something they feel like they can do, despite maybe not being the biggest of teams. Lorquette, again, is going to be central to this one. He is averaging, if you can believe it, 13 rebounds through the opening 3 games and put up 19 boards in the previous game against Colby Sawyer. 40 minutes of basketball to close out the evening. As we mentioned in the open, UMass Boston's women's team took their 5th win of the season. They're now 5-1 on this court earlier today. That was a 63-51 win over the Cougars of Clark. The women's hockey team was not quite as fortunate in the opening game of the Codfish Bowl tournament, being down 3-0 by Colby College, not to be confused with Colby Sawyer. Just about ready to get things going. Lorquette, Zayas, McKenzie, Burris, and Oliver Rodriguez out there for Jason Harris's squad, for Devin Mayo and the Lynx. Brown, Castro, Alexander, Howard, and Barlow. Howard, wearing number 25 instead of his usual 15, will tip off with Lorquette, who reverted to the 21 he wore his first couple of years at UMass Boston. UMass Boston in the white jerseys with a blue trim. Lesley in the black jerseys with a neon trim, and the Beacons take the tip. Zayas to start. And for the Beacons, it's really a question of balance. How many different contributions are they going to get as they immediately go to Lorquette, their leading scorer and all-around contributor? He's doubled and stripped. And a live ball turnover starts the game for the Beacons. Malachi Howard, now Hezekiah Brown, guarded by the 5'7" Zayas, slipping through the screen. Driving now is Barlow on Burris, puts it up. No good. Offensive rebound, Hezekiah Brown. And a fresh 20 seconds for the Lynx. Christian Castro now, wheeling and dealing. Brown to receive the pass. They've got 8 seconds to shoot. Driving left, tied up by Zayas, and it'll be a foul along the lane line. First of the game for either team, and the ball out of bounds underneath. Lesley coming into this one 0-5, and quite frankly, only one of those games was particularly close. That was their 4-point loss to Medgar Evers on the 19th of this month. Every other loss has come by 20 points or more. So they're coming out hungry here against the Beacons. Malachi Howard spinning over the shoulder, can't quite get it to go. And Mariano Oliver Rodriguez rips down the board. Zayas to Xavier McKenzie, both of them sharing ball handling, playmaking, creative duties here. Burris long on the jump shot, and Hezekiah Brown runs it down. Crossover, in and out move in transition. Gets a defender up in the air and slid a little bit too far. Traveling violation sends the ball back the Beacons' way. Still no score on the board for either side. Pass into Lorquette. Spins. Beautiful move, and Malik Lorquette puts the Beacons on the board. He's averaging 17 points and 13 rebounds. He's become the primary offensive force for this Beacons team in the young season after being nominated for the LEC All-Defensive Team last year, season in which he set the Beacons program record career and single season for blocks, and has continued to build on those records in his senior campaign. He's got 10 of them in the young season. Oliver Rodriguez now swings. Zayas, Lorquette at the elbow. Lorquette facing up, driving, kick, and just out of the reach of Tommy Burris. Another turnover for UMass Boston, their second so far. But the defense has held firm, and a soft press up against Hezekiah Brown, easily broken by the Lynx. but ultimately nothing coming of it. DJ Alexander on the left wing, guarded by McKenzie. Into Malachi Howard, the leading scorer against Lorquette, the leading defender for the Beacons. Fadeaway jumper over the shoulder, no good. The lid stays on the basket for the Lynx. Christian Castro into the lane, pops. No good. And another offensive rebound, but fumbled out of bounds by Alexander. And the lid stays on the rim yet again for the Lynx. Still no points down through the opening 2.5 minutes. 0 for 5 is Lesley. Lorquette at the foul line. Now facing up. Handoff. Three-pointer. Oh, what a bounce! Oliver Rodriguez with a joyful hop for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Beacon points of the evening. Hezekiah Brown on the drive. Shut off. Finds space, but the rim came in as a triple-teamer. Christian Castro around his man. Hop step. Floater is good. 10 points or 12 points a game coming in, and he has got a lot of tricks in his bag. And he uses one of them there for the first field goal of the game for the Lynx. You know, the offense is there. The question head coach Devin Mayo said has really been the defense. Well, the defense has looked pretty solid in the early going for them. Castro with a crossover in open space. Dump off pass Alexander. Barlow, 3. No good. And another offensive rebound for Hezekiah Brown. Howard fires. Air ball on the second chance. Lorquette. Outlet pass. Beacons with a chance to run. McKenzie. Crossover to the rim. No good. Tip Burris is good. 3rd different scorer for the Beacons. It's Tommy Burris putting them up by 5. And the Lynx still looking for their offensive fuel here. Brown with a drive. Oliver Rodriguez tried to take the charge, gets up, but too late to contest Christian Castro's drive to the rim. 7-4. Castro with both buckets for the Lynx. Kick. Oliver Rodriguez, 3, no good. Burris with a rebound. Burris puts it up, no good again. Loose ball, Burris with a flip and saves it. Tommy Burris all over the court in the early going. Bobby Joy, deep 3. That's good. Bobby Joy just onto the floor. He's got 12 points a game so far this season. And he shows you exactly why there. 7 of 10 from downtown. And he has been an absolute flamethrower from deep. Castro driving again. This time loses it off his foot. Off the Beacons. Ika Lua prepared to check in. He will do so in the stead of Mariano Oliver Rodriguez. And it'll take us to the first timeout. Beacons looking solid in the early going, 10-4. And the defense, despite the second chance point opportunities, has held Lesley to just a pair of buckets. We'll be right back. Well, head coach Devin Mayo of the Lynx of the opinion that his team is offensively shooting okay, but it's really the defense where they need to shore themselves up. It's what they've been working on more than anything else in their practices the last week or so. But to this point, it's the offense that needs to find a way. 2 of 10 in the early going. They've had a lot of second chances, but have not always made good. And with 3 seconds to go on the shot clock, it's a foul drawn there by Terrell Joseph, the freshman who just checked in. He joins a group of otherwise just starters: Castro, DJ Alexander, Scott Barlow, out there for the Lynx, along with Jelani Morgan, who just checked in, And getting his own rebound now is DJ Alexander, and drawing a foul there on a hit to the face. Should be assessed to Alua, and it is. Beacon's third team foul. The Lynx have yet to commit one. And this one will result in a pair of free throws, the first of the game for either side. Beacons have 4 different bucket getters. Lynx have just the one, Castro, who knocked home a couple of shots. And DJ Alexander's first try from the charity stripe goes awry. Knocks down the second. 2 of 11 from the field are the Lynx. 4 of 9 for the Beacons, with a pair of three-pointers mixed in. One of them from this man, Bobby Joy. Hard line drive, skip pass. Up top, Zayas, 3. No good. And the rebound pulled in by Jelani Morgan. Lynx still trying to figure out how to best get into their sets. Terrell Joseph hands off Castro, back to Joseph, fires for 3. Good. Terrell Joseph with the first 3-point make for the Lynx. And the lead is cut down to 2. Lorquette prepares to check back in. Alua with a stutter step, fires back to Joy, and they'll reset out top. Looking for Burris in the post. Instead, Zayas with a couple dribble moves. Hands off. Joy back to Zayas in the corner. Lesley covering it well. Shot clock down to 7. Kick out. Mariano Rodriguez can't quite get the roll. Mariano Oliver Rodriguez has started off 1 for 3 for UMass Boston. Nice pass underneath. Barlow covered by Burris, but he sealed the position. No good. And the Beacons once again stifling the interior enough. Joy, 3, no good. Burris the rebound and the foul. Tommy Burris with his second chance bucket of the evening and a chance for 3. Tommy Burris, after a 15-point outing against Salve Regina 2 games ago, prepared to continue making an impact for a Beacon squad that is in need of the hustle he brings to the table. Knocks down the free throw. He'll give way to Lorquette, who returns after a brief rest. Official making sure Bobby Joy knows his shirt's untucked. 13-8 in favor of the Beacons. We'll enter back into a soft press. 5 seconds to get the ball over the timeline. Beacon starting to pounce. And with a half second to spare, they get it over as a traveling violation went uncalled. But the three-pointer goes awry nevertheless. Mariano Rodriguez, the ball almost fumbled out of bounds. Both teams have some turnovers they'd certainly like to get under control. Beautiful pass into Lorquette, but he never really had a grip on it. And Lesley will take it the other way. Beacons once again preparing to set up in this press. Lesley moving the ball a little more like a hot potato this time around, side to side. And steadily break. Oh, no, they don't. Zayas pounced. And a freebie for the Beacons on an ill-advised skip pass. Oh, and Zayas almost did it again. The Beacons, the more alert team in the first 8 minutes of play. And Devin Mayo not liking at all what he's seeing from his team in the backcourt. 15-8 in favor of the Beacons. And the full court pressure is starting to show. The Lynx making a couple of dangerous passes, one of them producing a layup. We will be right back with a remainder of the first half from the Clark Athletic Center. foul you. Is that too much to ask? They need to get brooms in the game or else it can't happen. They gotta, come on. This is what we came to see. Beacon still opting for a little bit of backcourt. Beacon still opting for a little bit of backcourt pressure here, but this time Lesley gets through. The drive, Lorquette with a block from behind. It'll stay here, but Hezekiah Brown finding out the hard way why Malik Lorquette is the Beacon's career and single-season record holder in the block shot category. That's his 11th of the season, and that season is 3 games and change old. Malachi Howard checked back in. He's got Lorquette on him as we have a foul away from the ball whistled against UMass Boston. Assessed to Emmanuel Zayas. It's the second game of the Black Coaches Classic, and so the officiating crew, like the head coaches Jason Harris and Devin Mayo, it's an all-black evening. And for the same coach, Jason Harris, that founded this event, also founded the Student Athletes of Color organization. He's done basketball camps in Benin and Africa and has worked to advance that element of the sport he loves, as Ikalua steals the ball and draws the foul. But the Black Coaches Classic, getting teams together from around New England with black leadership and having them play in a showcase, one they hopefully are hoping, I should say, to expand to new teams, to expand to include women's teams as well in future years. This is only the second year of the event. UMass Boston hosted last year as well. Lorquette on the block, banging against Malachi Howard and kicks out to Xavier McKenzie. Swing in the corner. Oliver Rodriguez back out to Ikalua. Shot clock starting to become an issue as Bobby Joy puts the moves on. Drives baseline, hangs, fires. Oliver Rodriguez, 3. No good, but McKenzie gets free for the tip follow. Second chance points abound for UMass Boston. That's 10 of their 17 produced on the second chance. And Malachi Howard gets a defender in the air. That defender's Oliver Rodriguez, and he picks up the foul. Another timeout. We're going to keep it right here with 11:24 to go. Beacon's leading 17-8. The Lynx have missed their last 5 tries from the field. UMass Boston, meanwhile, is clicking at about the offensive rate they would like to be. Shooting 41% from the field. Tommy Burris has got 2 of the buckets. And with the exception of Ikalua, all 7 players who have touched the floor have scored a bucket for the Beacons. By contrast, Terrell Joseph and Christian Castro, the only 2 members of the Lynx who have scored from the field out of the 8 that Devin Mayo has ran out there. UMass Boston leading the way in the turnover category with just 2 to Lesley's 4. They are leading the way in the second chance points 10-3, 10-4 in points in the paint, and those 2 categories will really tell you where the difference has been. 9 of those points also classified in one way or another as a point off of a turnover, and that shows you where the 4 turnovers for the Lynx are going. But it's really the offensive area where the Lynx are going to have to try to figure something out. They have attempted just 4 3-pointers to UMass Boston's 7, and trying to pound the ball inside, which has worked in small doses to this point. Malachi Howard sinks the first of 2 free throws. 70% free throw shooter. Splits the pair. And Hezekiah Brown robbed of an offensive rebound, but as if taking lessons from Zayas, DJ Alexander picks up the desperation pass and gets 2 free points out of the deal. 11-11 to go, 17-11 the score. Ikalua on the drive, twisting into the middle, and will earn a pair of free throws for his trouble. Foul assessed to DJ Alexander. Alua's had a little bit of a slow start to the season. Part of it has been some foul trouble. He's got 8 through the opening 3 games, despite not playing as many minutes as some of his compatriots. But he is a long, lanky, capable, versatile player when he is out there. They certainly expect a lot from him. Look at the resting point. His fingertips are almost at his knees. That'll give you a sense of the kind of length he provides you as a perimeter defender as he picks up Terrell Joseph here midcourt and forces an errant pass. 5th turnover for Lesley to just 3 for the Beacons. And that's probably the reason the Lynx had fewer shot attempts than the Beacons, despite all the second chances they were getting earlier on in the half. Xavier McKenzie gets it back now to Alua. The same airspace as Bobby Joy. McKenzie's going to fire. The Beacons didn't really get a whole lot going in that possession. Settled for a long 3. And from a guy in Oliver Rodriguez shooting just 31%, in McKenzie, who's shooting less than 10% from downtown so far this season. Malachi Howard now, kick out. Hop step, Morgan. No good, rebound, put back, score. Malachi Howard starting to make his presence felt as we come up on the halfway point of the first half. Foul assessed to Ike Alua, his 2nd personal and his 10th on the season. And with just 10 minutes gone in the first half, Alua will head to the bench. So it's Lorquette, Burris, McKenzie, Oliver Rodriguez, and Bobby Joy out there for the Beacons, trying to hold on to a 5-point lead and build on it. Xavier McKenzie looking for Burris in the middle, instead goes sideways to Joy. Back and forth they go. Bobby Joy, step back 3, good! Bobby Joy flashing the 3-point sign as he hops back down the court. That's his 2nd of the evening. And the Beacons lead back up to 8. DJ Alexander, Malachi Howard now. Hop step, Hezekiah Brown deflected out of bounds by McKenzie with 15 on the shot clock. It's Hezekiah Brown, Malachi Howard, DJ Alexander, Christian Castro, and Jelani Morgan out there for Lesley right now. Castro with a hop step, tied up, but they'll call the travel first. It's the trail official making the call, and the Beacons will take it on another turnover. 6th of a game for Lesley. First for Christian Castro, who's normally pretty turnover averse. Bobby Joy drives into the middle. Floater, no good. A little bit too strong. Joy has been hunting his own shot since the moment he stepped on the floor. And he's now 2 of 4. Pass into the middle. Beautiful feed and a missed bunny. Hezekiah Brown earns the tie-up, but you have to imagine he wants the shot back. And it'll stay with Lesley as the arrow switches to the Beacons. 21-13 the score on a, by late November standards, a pretty balmy evening in Boston. Hezekiah Brown with his first bucket of the game on his 5th attempt, and the lead back down to 6. McKenzie, Ariano Oliver Rodriguez, kick to Joy. Lorquette around the foul line, going to work, driving to the bucket, and fouled on his way through. Foul goes against Jelani Morgan. His 2nd, the team's 4th, and it'll send Malik Lorquette to the foul line, where he's shooting 70% through 3 games. It's a very pronounced wrist flick when he shoots his jumper. You notice it at the top. He's got these big hands. and short on the second. So a missed pair for Malik Lorquette and an empty trip for the Beacons. Hezekiah Brown with some open space to work with, putting the moves on Joy. Handoff Alexander, Castro in the corner, sweeping round, Scott Barlow up top. Inside Malachi Howard, guarded by Lorquette, looking to pass, and does. Castro shakes Rodriguez out of his shoes, and miscommunication on the positioning there. Behind the back pass to the Beacons bench, returns the ball to UMass Boston. Still some early season jitters. The Lynx, remember, unlike the Beacons, aren't starting their conference season until mid-January. They'll play all the games in a row. The Beacons have more conference games and start earlier. So their conference slate starts next week against Eastern Connecticut State University. On the drive, McKenzie, and scoring with a soft touch. Xavier McKenzie out of Lowell, Massachusetts, the freshman guard looking to make his mark. Averaging 9 points a game, but the efficiency has been the question mark through the opening triad of games. Barlow with a fake. Barlow to the middle. Barlow to the basket, and the pass is broken up. Bobby Joy with a chance to run. 3-on-2 to McKenzie in the middle. Jump stop, no good. Offensive rebound, and draws the foul. DJ Alexander named as the culprit, and Xavier McKenzie will head to the charity stripe for a pair. Quick timeout, and the Beacons lead holding steady at 8 points. We'll see where it goes when we come back.
Nothing like a behind-the-back pass to your opponent's bench to make your coach just fucking thrilled with you. That's an open question. Enjoying my work because I have to go to Tupac. That's more or less too much time. Okay. Whoop.
Xavier McKenzie with a pair of freebies out of the timeout. He's out there with Bobby Joy. Connor Walden, who's getting his first minutes, the 6'7" forward. Mariano Oliver Rodriguez and Tommy Burris out there as well, as both Zayas and Lorquette will have a spell of rest. And Ike Alua preparing to substitute in after the second free throw. Swished pair. Alua replaces Mariano Oliver Rodriguez. For the Lynx, Scott Barlow, Christian Castro, the starters, alongside Madison McCall, who's getting his first minutes, Hezekiah Brown, and Carl Dorsainville as well. And McCall just into the game. That didn't take him long, did it? Knocking down the three to trim the lead back down to 7 with 7 minutes and change to play. Bobby Joy, nice entry pass. Burris swarmed off to Alua, and that's going to be a tie-up that'll keep the ball with UMass Boston, but revert the arrow. Lesley swarming out of the timeout with a couple of new pieces out on the floor. UMass Boston trying to build off of a close loss. It's a 1-point loss after a terrific performance from Lorquette against Colby Sawyer. That one rattles out and falls down. Lesley, as we mentioned earlier, 0-5 coming into this one and looking for their first win of the season. Might have gotten a piece of it there was Burris. McKenzie in the open floor. Drop off. Alua, he is fouled. And the Beacons returning again and again to the charity stripe, this time for attempts 8 and 9. Oh, and there we go. See, that's what I missed about some college referees. A lot of them will use the standard signals, hold, hand check, block, charge, hit, whatever it may be. The ones I really like, the ones who are really going to give you your money's worth, are the ones who will reenact the foul for you, like they're in some kind of improv group. It's really wonderful. The more theatrical, the better in my book. Couple of substitutions for the Beacons. Bryson Gully gets his first minutes. Malik Lorquette back out there now with Ike Alua, Bobby Joy, and Xavier McKenzie. So Jason Harris dipping into the bench a little bit earlier perhaps than expected. Is Hezekiah Brown right down Main Street, but the jump stop didn't have enough stop in it. And another traveling violation assessed against the Lynx. Another dead ball turnover. That's their 8th turnover. Make it their 9th turnover. Beacons just 3. Joy passed out of the shot. Bryson Gully, 3 is good. His first collegiate point, or first for the Beacons, I should say. And it comes at an opportune time as the offense had stalled from the field. No good on the answer is Carl Dorsainville. And the Beacons all of a sudden with a chance to push. Alua with a mid-range jump shot. Long. And Castro corrals the rebound. 12-point lead for UMass Boston with a touch under 6 minutes to play in the first half. Second game of the Black Coaches Classic. The first one saw Tufts and Framingham State do, I suppose you can be charitable and call it battle, but it was a 77-39 win for the Tufts Jumbos. And it was a game where the Rams of Framingham State being tripled up at halftime 42-14. So the outcome not so much in doubt on that one. This one at the very least has been closer to this point. But the Lynx still looking for that deep offensive package that's going to bring them their first win of the season. And so far the Beacons defense has been a little bit too much to handle at times. But Scott Barlow trying to narrow the gap from the charity stripe. He's leading the way for this Lesley squad with 4 free throw attempts per game through their opening 5 games. And he splits the pair. Bobby Joy getting the primary ball handling responsibilities with Zayas out of the game, and he takes it right to the rack. Not enough mustard on the shot to get it up and over the rim. Castro strip coming through the wickets in transition. Castro putting the moves on Joy and loses the ball out of bounds, poked away at the last second by Joy, who will now give way to Emmanuel Zayas. 11-point lead. Beacons have steadily expanded the lead. At no point have they looked comfortable, but for that matter, at no point have the Lynx looked like they were really closing the gap. Malachi Howard has to pass out of the post. Barlow misfires, loose ball. Zayas comes up with it. Chance for the Beacons in transition. 3, Gully off the top of the backboard. And another second chance bucket. Oliver Rodriguez and the Beacons cleaning up the boards. And another 3. The response from Madison McCall. His second 3 in as many tries. The lead is down to 10, and Jason Harris wants to talk it over. 4.5 minutes remaining, and the Beacons still up by double digits. Bryson Gully Into Lorquette, back to Gully for three. Halfway down, but Oliver Rodriguez, they're cleaning the glass better than a Windex bottle. They continue to feast. 16 of their 34 points coming on the second chance. And the Beacons with another steal. Gully to Lorquette in transition. Ambitious pass, and it doesn't quite work out for him. Lorquette with a spin. Lorquette to the bucket. Blocked. And he was out of bounds when he came down with that one. 16-7 on the second chance points for UMass Boston, and that more than anything has been the difference. Castro stripped. Oliver Rodriguez is absolutely everywhere. 3-on-1. McKenzie blocked, but a foul. Malachi Howard got a lot of the ball, but he got a fair amount of Xavier McKenzie as well. And back to the line go the Beacons. And yet another timeout is going to send us to a break with 3:47 to go. Beacons still up by 12. And the Lynx trying to find some way in here, but it has not been an obvious one. The only part of the offense that you can argue is unquestionably working is the Madison McCall jump shooting machine. He's taken 2 threes and made them both. But where the Beacons have gotten balanced scoring from a number of players, the Lynx have only 2 players, McCall and Christian Castro, who have made more than 1 bucket. The Beacons have 4 such players in that category. And that offensive spread has really made the difference for them. You know, Devin Mayo on the Lynx side said he knew coming into this game the Beacons are going to be a tough matchup. They play a very fast-paced offense, but at the same time feels that these two teams match up very well with one another. Both of them rely on speedy guards. They're not necessarily the biggest teams. They each have a big man. Malachi Howard on the Lesley side. Malik Lorquette on the UMass Boston side, who is not just capable of banging down low, moving guys with his weight, but also capable of running around, capable of defending well, flying all over the court, handling the ball a little bit, maybe even shooting from the mid-range or, in Howard's case, the outside. And so versatile bigs keying a lightning-quick offense, matching styles here from the Clark Athletic Center, but the Beacons have been the better executors through the first 16 minutes of play, and they own a 13-point lead as a consequence. Pair of free throws good. And Xavier McKenzie continues to make his living at the line. 4 out of his 8 points have come from the charity stripe. And for the Beacons, 8 of their 36 from that spot. Oh, and a miscue on the pass. And DJ Alexander on the bench has no choice but to field the teammate's errant throw. Another lightly forced turnover for Lesley. Something they'll want to get under control as the game continues. Swing. Oliver Rodriguez, stutter step, and stuttered a little bit too much. 3:39 to go, 36-22 in favor of the blue and white. And they have done it, surprising as this might have been to anyone who watched the Colby Sawyer game. They've done it with Malik Lorquette scoring just 2 points and trying just 2 shots. Morgan fires the 3, no good. Alua chases down the rebound. Beacons with a chance to run. Gully on the bounce pass. Gully lays it in. And the Beacons stretching the lead before halftime. As Hezekiah Brown breaks loose. Madison McCall fakes the 3, drives to the bucket. His first miss of the game, but rapidly put back in. Jelani Morgan gets his first bucket. Beacons not content to wait. Oliver Rodriguez, and another traveling violation. He's looking to his bench, looking to his coach for an explanation. We saw in the UMass Boston women's basketball game earlier today a wide variety of travels, a plethora of travels, if you will, whistled, and Jason Harris wondering why one wasn't called there on Jelani Morgan. McCall fires his third three-point attempt. This one, the first one that caroms out. And a backcourt violation in Jason Harris's book, maybe a little bit of karma as that ball sails off the fingertips of Malachi Howard. 38-24, Beacons lead with 3 minutes to go. Burris checking in now. Bryson Gully will take a seat and jog the long way around. So Mackenzie, Joy, Alua, Burris, and Lorquette to finish the half. The starters minus Zayas. And a foul on the entry pass committed by Hezekiah Brown. And that is going to put the Beacons, if I'm not mistaken, in the 1-and-1 bonus. Indeed it will. And so Xavier McKenzie, who's 4 of 4 from the line, will try to earn himself a pair. Knocks down the first. 9 of 12 from the line are the Beacons. Just 3 of 7 on the opposite side for the Lynx. And Xavier McKenzie stays perfect from the line, 6 of 6. Barlow, nice little tic-tac-toe triangle pass. Pass almost picked off by McKenzie, recovered by McCall. Shot pass. And Jelani Morgan, a little bit of a wild possession there, but the Lynx made sense of it and earned the bucket. Bobby Joy thought about a long three and then thought better of it, with the ear-to-ear smile on his face. Burris will try a three and knock it down. Tommy Burris with his first three-pointer of the evening, and the Beacons' lead continues to stretch ever so slightly. And Ike Alua, to his great indignation, whistled for the smack from behind. (43-26). And the last set of substitutions in all likelihood before the halftime break. So it's Terrell Joseph, Malachi Howard, Scott Barlow, Jelani Morgan, and Hezekiah Brown out there for the Lynx. Lorquette, McKenzie, Burris, Oliver Rodriguez, and Joy out there for UMass Boston. And the front end of a 1-and-1 will not fall for the Lynx. Defense moving into a zone here, a 2-3 zone for the Lynx, showing a different look. Joy, long three-pointer. That one is good. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. And for Bobby Joy, it has been a raining of threes in the opening half. And an answer. Scott Barlow from the corner. UMass Boston quick to reverse the court. Pass into Lorquette. Takes a minute to corral. And he'll reset to Joy. To Lorquette, driving the baseline. Kick. Burris, his three-pointer. No good. But the rebound comes right back to him, and a tie-up on the hop step. Sends it back Lesley's way. We get our first look at Fidendi Francois, the freshman out of Somerville, and arguably the best named player in the building tonight. Inside of a minute to go, and Bobby Joy getting a little bit too handsy with the hips there by midcourt. Lynx in the 1-and-1 bonus, and so that'll cost him. Although the Lynx just 3 of 8 from the charity stripe to this point, as Terrell Joseph steps to the line for his first attempt of the day. The free throw gods continue to be most unkind to Lesley. 3 of 9 now. They are shooting a better percentage now from 3 than they are shooting from the free throw line. And odd though that may be, it's cost them in a couple of ways, particularly the missing the front end of the last 2 1-and-1s. And perhaps making the Beacons a little bit more comfortable playing physical. wet spot on the floor is going to require some tending to. 52 seconds, remaining in the first half. 46-29 the score in favor of the home team. Remember, a neutral site game preceded this one. Tufts and Framingham State. The goofily or spectacularly, depending on your point of view, Jumbos, victorious over the Rams and just about doubled them up, 77-39 in the opener. But if you're tuning into this one, it has not quite been the same sort of runaway feel. It is not going to be a 28-point deficit at halftime, but the Beacons nevertheless seem like they are in full control. The second chance points, the free throws, a slight edge in three-point shooting have carried them to a 17-point lead over the Lynx. And they seem prepared to expand that lead here in the last couple of possessions as they can go 2 for 1 if they so choose. Joy swings. Francois, guarded by Morgan. Francois drives, kicks. Three-pointer, Connor Walden, no good. And Jelani Morgan eats up the rebound. Four seconds difference, shot clock and game clock. Barlow looking for Howard in the post, fronted nicely by Walden. Instead, they'll go back out. Terrell Joseph with 10 to shoot. Pressured out by Fidendi Francois. On the drive, kick, step back three, Morgan, air ball. 3 seconds to shoot, loose ball in the backcourt. Who's going to take it? It's Beacon's ball with 1.3 to go. And the Beacons with one last try to get a good look at this. And a 30-second timeout called by Jason Harris, who really wants to make the most of the last 1.3 seconds. UMass Boston coming into this game 1-2, 12-point loss, 13-point win, 1-point loss in that order. Lesley University coming into this one off of 5 losses, 4 of them in most difficult fashion. 20 points or more, with the first 2 of them coming by 50 and 37 points respectively. Clark and Norwich. Things only improved slightly against Curry. The Medgar Evers game was the one that was close. They were due to play their 6th game of the season, giving them twice more than the Beacons, but the Castleton game 4 days ago wound up not getting played because of logistical challenges. That game will be postponed to later in the season. 1.3 seconds to go. Where's the pass going to go? It's Walden. Turnaround 3 at the buzzer. And will not draw iron. A 17-point lead the Beacons will take to the locker room. We're going to take you to some highlights in the meantime. First, from the men's basketball game against Colby Sawyer earlier. And then the women's basketball highlights against Colby Sawyer and Clark from earlier today. And then we'll be back with the first half stats and the second half of action after that. You're watching UMass Boston and Lesley on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Boston women's basketball at home Tuesday night, taking on Colby Sawyer College. The Beacons looking to move to 2-0 on the young season. And early on, it would be all sunny green. Sabela Jensen with the miss from the corner. Green cleans up the boards, lays it home. Beacons ahead by 3 early on in this one. And then Green, yet again, a little while later, gets this one on the inbound from Jensen. Jumper from the LEC logo. Puts the Beacons ahead by 6, but some shooting woes in the first quarter would find the Beacons behind by 3, and they would turn that around real quickly as Meg Dixon with the jumper right there. And then Sonny Green from beyond the arc bangs this one home, nothing but net. Beacons ahead 17-15, and then a back and forth quarter would ensue. Sonny Green from the corner now from Dixon in the middle. Knocks that one down. The Beacons ahead by 3. And then trailing 22-20, the Beacons go on a 7-0 run to finish off the second quarter. And it culminates in Carrie Ann Farina's buzzer beater 3 from beyond half court. and the Beacons swing momentum in their favor going into the locker room. And coming out of the locker room, the momentum would continue as the Beacons make it a 10-0 run to start the third quarter. And in fact, between the second and third quarter would go on a total of 17 straight points before Colby Sawyer would hit a basket, as you say. Paige Olivier with the miss right there. Sabela Jensen cleans up the board, lays it up, and the Beacons continue to expand that lead as the Colby Sawyer Chargers forced to call timeout. But the Beacons would just continue from there as it's Meg Dixon from beyond the arc. Nails that one. The Beacons now up double digits. And then Sunny Green capping it off, continuing her hot night. This one from the right side. An and one opportunity as she's fouled on the three-point attempt. Green finished the game with her first double-double in her career, 15 points, 10 rebounds. In the fourth quarter, the Chargers would threaten Marissa Holt with that three-pointer, would cut the Beacon lead to just 10, but then a 12-0 run from the Beacons would help secure the win as Sabela Jensen with the steal right there lays it home, and the Beacons re-up their lead to 13. But they were not done yet. They would go up by as many as 22 points in this one as Olivier from beyond the arc nails that three. The Beacons now stretch that lead to 15 and force the Chargers to call a timeout with just over 4 minutes left. But Olivier again, this one from the right side, working in her defender, gets it in, tough layup, falls. The Beacons lead continues to stretch out. Carrie-Ann Farina, explosive from the left side, lays it up and in. And now the Beacons up by 20 points. That would put a dagger in it. And then Sabela Jensen caps it all off with a nice pass from Sierra Brigham to lay it up and in. The Beacons go up by 22 points and end up winning this one 59-41 over the Chargers. The Beacons now will head on the road to the Hunter College Invitational this Friday and Saturday in New York City. Boston women's basketball at home taking on Clark University on Saturday morning, looking to extend their win streak to 3 consecutive games. Early on, they would trail 8-2. Meg Dixon gets the scoring run started for the Beacons with that jumper right there. Sunny Green then on the pass from Carrie-Ann Farina nails that corner three to make it a 1-point game. And then Dixon would head to the line for 2 free throws, hit both of them, and just like that, the Beacons take their first lead of the game 9-8. Carrie-Ann Farina then heads to the line, nails 2 free throws of her own, caps off the Beacon run at 9 straight points, makes it 11-8. And then a tie game 11-all. Meg Dixon on the pass from Sunny Green nails that one from the left side of the court. Beacons in front 14-11, and then Dixon again from the right side this time, doing it from everywhere, gives the Beacons a 6-point advantage. They would take an 8-point lead going into the second quarter. Then Dixon again doing it all. Another 3-pointer right there puts the Beacons ahead. Now they're up 11 on the give and go. Alexa Potter gets that one to fall. The Beacons would take their largest lead of the game right here on another layup from Potter as she'd get inside on the turnaround and makes it a 15-point game. And then Meg Dixon yet again with yet another 3-pointer here on the pass from Paige Oliver gets that one, and the Beacons back in front by 14 points. In the second half, Clark would threaten from time to time. The Beacons would answer back in the third. Alexa Potter getting her own miss right there, lays it home, and that's the start of a Beacon 6-0 run as Dixon nails another 3-pointer right there, makes it a 5-0 run, and then Potter with another free throw right here would make it a 6-0 run for the Beacons. And at the end of the third quarter, Potter nailing a jumper right there sends the Beacons into the fourth quarter up 12. And then Meg Dixon looked to put the dagger in the heart of the Cougars right there with that 3-pointer, makes it a 14-point game, but the Cougars would answer back with an 8-0 run started by 2 layups by Jacqueline Felice right here on the left side. And suddenly, the Beacon lead is down to just 10 points. Cameron Ritchie adds a free throw. It's now down to 9. Then Julianne Lebo, right here on the pass from Felice in the right corner, nails the 3. It's now a 6-point game in favor of the Beacons. But the Beacons would answer back with a 6-0 run to end this one. Sunny Green with the layup right there to make it an 8-point game. Meg Dixon with yet another jump shot right here makes it 61-51. The Beacons add 2 more on a pair of free throws, and they take this game 63-51 to 51 at home. Meg Dixon, a double-double, 25 points, 15 rebounds on 8 of 18 shooting. She was 6 of 14 from 3. And then Alexa Potter in 18 minutes, 20 points and 4 rebounds. The Beacons get ready for a road game on Tuesday night against Emerson College on the road at 7 o'clock p.m. Boston men's basketball in their 2022-23 home opener against Colby Sawyer College on Tuesday night in the Clark Athletic Center. Just before Thanksgiving break, it would be the night for Malik Lorquette, the big man, with an early 4-0 run for the Beacons right here, getting an early layup. And then right here in the post against Connor Kelly to give the Beacons a 4-0 lead right off the bat. Lorquette, a short while later, would hit back-to-back free throws right here and make it 11-7 Beacons. But the Chargers would come back, and they would get their first lead of the game as Scott Lampron would pull up right here for 3 on the transition. Colby Sawyer takes the lead 13-11, but then Malik Lorquette just going right back to work on the other end, down 16-13. A beautiful pass from Emmanuel Zayas to Mariano Olivier Rodriguez over to Lorquette for that layup. And then off the Olivier Rodriguez miss right here, you see Lorquette's going to get the board and lay it home. Beacons within 1. And then Xavier McKenzie would give the Beacons the lead 19-18 with this driving layup right here before Colby Sawyer would go on a 13-2 run, capped off by this Omar Boone three-pointer up top to give Colby Sawyer a 10-point advantage. But the Beacons would not go quietly as Tommy Burris right here on the pass from Zayas with the three-pointer. The Beacons within 7. And then right after that, Burris is going to find Ike Alua up top for 3, and now the Beacon deficit is just 4. Malik Lorquette, with the Beacon still down 4, is going to get his 10th rebound in the first half alone, which would give him his double-double already. Lorquette in 18 minutes had 18 points and 12 boards, and then Emmanuel Zayas right before the end of the first half lays it up and in. Beacons within 1 going into the second half, and it would be a thrilling second half. We pick it up with about 11 minutes to go in regulation, 59-57 Colby Sawyer, and Xavier McKenzie right down the pipe to tie it up at 59 all. And then Lorquette double teamed, one man lays off. It's just him and Boone on the baseline, one-on-one. The reverse layup falls, 61-59 Beacons. Lorquette again with the game tied up. Bobby Joy, no-look pass, baseline. Lorquette, yes. Beacons in front, 63-61. However, the Chargers would go on a big run right here to take a 10-point lead, but the Beacons would again roar back. 6 minutes to go. Bobby Joy up top, bangs it home. Beacons back within 7. A short while later, it's Olivier Rodriguez from the corner. 3. Yes, he's got it, and it's a 4-point game. And then Emmanuel Zayas off of the miss down low by Lorquette, who was double-teamed, and then against Kelly one-on-one, you're going to see Boone just throw it away right there. Zayas picks his pocket, and the Beacons now within 2. Now the Beacons trailing by 4. Olivier Rodriguez nails the 3. They're back within 1. And then Xavier McKenzie with the go-ahead layup right here with 3 minutes to go puts the Beacons up by 1, 77-76. Omar Boone would get a pair of free throws with a minute to go in regulation. Colby Sawyer now up 78-77, forcing UMass Boston to call a timeout, set something up. And they really didn't have to set anything up. As you see right here, it was the defense that does the work. Malik Lorquette getting the ball away from Connor Kelly, lays it home. He wanted the foul, but the Beacons have a 1-point lead with just over 18 seconds remaining in regulation. And then Omar Boone would finish the job for the Chargers. Down low one-on-one with Olivier Rodriguez. The turnaround jumper nails it. Beacons call timeout. One more chance to win it right here, and it would be up to Xavier McKenzie, who would go full length of the court with 7.2 seconds left, driving on Kelly. The layup, no good. And the Beacons fall at home in their home opener, 80-79. Malik Lorquette, a double-double in 36 minutes, 24 points, 19 rebounds, 10 of 15 shooting. On the other end, Omar Boone, the game winner, had 22 points, 9 rebounds in 34 minutes. The Beacons will play in the Black Coaches Collegiate Classic this Saturday against Lesley University at 7:30 p.m.
It's a lot of fun, but also I find it fun for reasons because it's one of those things that scratches an itch in my brain. It's not because it's if you just want to get on and dick around for a while. Don't get me wrong, that's valid too. I understand the impulse completely. But it's, I don't know. Just seeing Joe Buck and like Troy Aikman fucking like sipping cocktails during I knew it was a preseason game, but I'm like, how? How do y'all get to that's job security is what that is. That's like, I wouldn't dare. Tell Dave if he lets me do it, he should let you do it. Yeah. Then again, he's got me calling hockey, so what does that say about his judgment? Actually, don't tell him that part. I do like calling hockey games. How much longer you'll have till you graduate?
I have 2.5 more years, depending on how long I may, well, like graduate, yeah, undergrad.
You thinking about a master's?
Thinking about it, yeah.
What would you?
Economics. Yeah. But we'll see. Stuff changes.
Yeah, it's also it's a call for whatever it's worth. You probably want to make it closer to, because like when I was you junior now.
Sophomore.
When I was a sophomore, I still had bandwidth for classes. By the time I was done, I was like, classes have been the dominant like thing in my life since I was 6, and I'm done. Like I am, like not just exhausted, but I feel like I'm maxed in how much I can learn in a classroom. So, and some people can like not just tolerate but excel in med school. So like, respect, What? Oh, I thought you were gonna. Okay. I do want to come back. You read my mind.
An eventful first half by any number of measures for the UMass Boston Beacons. They lead it 46-29 over the Lesley Lynx. And apart from the score, you can see the field goal percentage. You can see the three-point percentage, which is augmented by a slight increase in volume for the Beacons. But the free throw percentage and the rebounds are where it's really paying dividends. Lesley seems to be ahead in the rebounding category, but what we have to remember is the Beacons have a 7-point edge in second chance points. They have a 20-2 edge in points in the paint. And that turnover category, the Beacons have been very diligent. Lesley is going to be looking to tighten the handle. Malik Lorquette has not been the loud one for the Beacons as we would have expected. He has pulled in 6 rebounds, tied with Mariano Oliver Rodriguez for the team lead. But it has been Oliver Rodriguez, Burris McKenzie, and Bobby Joy, 7, 8, 10, and 9 points respectively for the Beacons, leading the way with 3 field goals apiece, or in the case of McKenzie, a perfect 6 of 6 showing from the charity stripe. On the Lynx side, offense has been a little bit more sparse, but they've got 3 guys clocking in with multiple field goals. That would be Jelani Morgan and Madison McCall off the bench, as well as Christian Castro from the starting lineup. Hezekiah Brown just 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, but perhaps the biggest surprise has been Malachi Howard, who has not sought his own offense too much against Malik Lorquette in the post, and has just 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting. Away we go in the second half. And they swing around, the Beacons do, to Xavier McKenzie now into Lorquette. Is he going to be hunting his own offense in the post? Not this time. As they go up top, McKenzie, long 2, and nothing but the bottom to open the second half. McKenzie, the first Beacon in double figures. He's now got 12. It's going to be the second personal foul now on Emmanuel Zayas. 19-point lead for the Lynx to try to sink their teeth into. and about 19 minutes in which to do it. Hezekiah Brown has it poked away, retrieves it over by the far sideline. Kick, corner, Castro, pump fake, drives into the middle, right-handed layup, no good. McKenzie with just enough pressure to deter it. Emmanuel Zayas at all of 5'7" corrals the loose rebound, and away the Beacons go down the other end. Zayas thought about a three, instead kicks to Bobby Joy, who's been thinking about nothing but threes throughout this game. Pump fakes one there, kick, McKenzie, drive, kick, floater is the reward at the end of the rainbow. And the Beacons, with a pair of buckets to open the half, have opened up a 21-point lead. They look attentive, they look sharp, and they look, perhaps most importantly, after Lorquette had to keep them in the game kicking and screaming last time out, they look balanced. Zayas called for another foul. That is his third. 21-point lead still. Minute and a half gone in the second half. Appreciate you tuning in here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. I'm Milton Posner. Hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving. Hope you had a Black Friday that consisted of not being completely steamrolled in a chain store, or having your browser crash on you when you tried to online shop, or any of the other wonderful things that make Black Friday just a lot. Bobby Joy driving now with a kick to Oliver Rodriguez. Joy goes and gets it in the opposite corner. Beacons moving the ball quickly. They're moving themselves as well as they're looking for Lorquette down low. But instead it's going to be a drive for Oliver Rodriguez and a travel for Oliver Rodriguez. That's for the second or third time today. Number 11 takes the extra step. The Beacons, it's only their sixth turnover of the game, and a lot of them have been dead ball turnovers of the sort that don't generate transition chances. That's the upside. Malachi Howard with a couple of tips. DJ Alexander with a follow, no good. And still scoreless through the first couple of minutes and a half are the Lesley Lynx. Oliver Rodriguez, three short, and Howard consumes the rebound. Handoff out top, Scott Barlow pressured by Xavier McKenzie, the freshman. To Hezekiah Brown off the curl, met there by Oliver Rodriguez. Some nice handles and a shoebox there. Howard goes to the back down, uses the bulk, can't quite get it, and Lorquette corrals the carom. Bobby Joy with room to work. To Lorquette in transition, and that's going to be an offensive foul and an easy call for the lead official to make. Barlow puts his body on the line. And now the Lynx will go back the other way, still looking for their first points of the second period. Second game of the Black Coaches Classic after a runaway win for the Tufts Jumbos over Framingham State in the 5 o'clock game. UMass Boston trying to post a similar blowout. Hezekiah Brown misfires, a block from behind on the putback attempt, but Barlow will earn a pair of free throws on the foul by Xavier McKenzie. Scott Barlow, who takes more free throws than anyone else on this Lynx squad, will go back to the line, where he's just 2 of 4 today. Make that 3 of 5. The free throw shooting was the issue for the Lynx, not the issue, but an issue. They were 3 of 9 in the first half and left some points on the table because of it. If they can get back to good free throw shooting as Barlow splits the pair, it's absolutely going to be an asset. Through 3 minutes, the Beacons have already committed 4 fouls, and free throws could be a critical part of this comeback attempt for the Lynx. Zayas up top, around the screen from Lorquette. Tough floater in the lane, no good off the left side of the rim. And Malachi Howard pulls in his 7th rebound to lead all Lynx. Handoff, Hezekiah Brown short, but on line. And Castro has the ball taken away from him by Alua. Joy with a chase down, Joy with a save to Zayas. Dump off, Alua lays it in! 2 points out of the chaos, and UMass Boston continues to expand the lead. It's up to 22 now. Handoff, Castro pilfered from behind by Zayas. Beacons getting their hands in all the right places, but Joy can't capitalize with a 3-point bomb. Oh, and it's a takeaway. Ike Alua with open floor ahead of him, and a two-handed flush. The Beacons continue to run all up and down over the Lesley defense. And a very well-timed timeout there as DJ Alexander knew that his target was slipping. Our first break of the half, and after 4.5 minutes of action, the Beacons on an 8-1 run coming out of the locker room. We'll be right back.
So, who do you think will win the game? Oh, I thought you were going to say Thompson. They already won. Every time Chris said, good jumbos, I'm like, don't laugh. You hear the microphone. Don't do it. They will hear you and be offended. There's like a pocket-sized elephant that's roughly the size of like a border collie. Can I just keep him? They have teacup elephants? Teacup. Oh, basketball's happening. No, wait a minute. Okay, that's fake. Right? It's gotta be fake. What is the smallest elephant? Wait, what? Less than 8 feet? In fairness, that's better than I was expecting. Like, you know?
The Beacons up 24 and in a full court press of a decent amount of intensity. But the Lynx break through. Alexander, kick. Jelani Morgan to Malachi Howard on the block. Blocked by McKenzie. But Howard, tenacious, stays with it and earns the bucket. Xavier McKenzie blocking a much bigger man. And now draining the elbow jumper. Well, in the absence of Charles and Charlie Mitchell, who graduated at the end of last season, the Beacons have looked for more offensive firepower from the guard spots, and Xavier McKenzie, among the newcomers, is the most obvious candidate in the early going. Zayas thought about a long three and settles the team down. 24-point lead, 15.5 minutes left to play in the second half. Zayas, pull-up three. No good. Tip by McKenzie is long. And Jelani Morgan recovers the board. Malachi Howard on the drive. Howard right to the rim. And don't let the appearances deceive you. Despite the big body, despite the muscle, Malachi Howard is nimble, agile, and a capable driver. Capable of shooting from the perimeter as well. On a moving screen whistled against Eric Donaldson of the Beacons is going to send us back the other way. Bryson Gully checking in for the Beacons. DJ Alexander doing the same instead of Malachi Howard. And a timeout called here, a media timeout, going to send us to another break. 14 minutes to play. And Lesley still looking for answers, especially on the offensive side of the ball, against a stingy Beacons defense.
Okay, more elephant research. Okay, less than 8. They have large ears, round bellies. Hey, little buddy.
Lesley still with enough time to mount a run here, but the offensive solutions are going to need to be not throwing the ball into Ikalua's hands. Here he comes, galloping to the rim. And Barlow, a little more than a bystander, but in position enough to commit the foul. The turnovers have mounted for the Lynx, 18 of them. Not all of them, it bears mentioning, live ball turnovers, but the ones that have been have produced some fast break points, 9-2 in that category for the Beacons. And for that matter, they're 22-3 in points off turnovers. Zykalua knocks down the first of two. It was just the first foul that the Lynx have committed this half. They have that going for them, while the Beacons have committed 5 and seem poised to be sending the Lynx back to the charity stripe again and again should it persist. So they get it over the timeline, 24-point lead, 13:40 remaining. Madison McCall flashing toward the ball. Instead, it's Scott Barlow on the far side corner up. DJ Alexander catch and shoot 3. Good. Rattles it home. DJ Alexander with his first triple of the evening. And I don't think the Lynx would say no to the perimeter shooting finding its place either. Eric Donaldson with his first collegiate point on the dump-off pass. And the Beacons have cracked 60. Congrats to Eric as he covers his mirror. Number 35, Barlow in the far corner. Kick. Another 3. This one from Terrell Joseph. Back-to-back triples for the Lynx. Now can they muster some momentum on the opposite side of the ball? Zayas, pass broken up. Turnover, 3-on-2 chance for the Lynx. Jelani Morgan sheds Zayas and scores. And Jason Harris looked like he was motioning for a timeout, but did not say anything to the official as the official passed by. He's going to let his guys play. Zayas in the corner in front of his own bench, migrating to the top. Gets the pass back around the screen from Donaldson. Couple of crossover moves. Sheds, Barlow fires, no good. And Donaldson lets the rebound traipse off the fingers of Barlow. It'll stay with UMass Boston. Some substitutions here for Jason Harris to stem the nascent Lesley momentum. Bobby Joy, Malik Lorquette, and Connor Walden will sub in, joining Bryson Gully and Xavier McKenzie. Comes off the screen now, trying to find room along the baseline. Malachi Howard also checks back in for the Lynx. And Walden open at the foul line, left there. And a foul whistled underneath the basket. It should go on Lesley. Indeed it does. Scott Barlow picking up the foul, the second team foul for the Lynx in the second half. Beacons holding steady at 5 personal fouls. Lorquette on the drive. Lorquette sealed off on the baseline. Swing, top, Gully, 3, short. And McCall snags the board. Lorquette has not been hunting his own shot too much as Barlow picks up that offensive rebound. He's been doubled a lot, has had the baseline driving lanes sealed off. As clearly he's been a part of the game plan for the Lynx. The spinning and winning is Jelani Morgan. And Devin Mayo mentioned before the game he's been watching Lorquette for a few years, knows what he's capable of. And certainly the stat line he put up against Colby Sawyer, 24 and 19, is going to put him on some teams' radar. Bumping and banging with Malachi Howard, who gets a little bit too handsy on the clampdown. And Lorquette draws the foul. Timeout on the floor with 11:17 to go. And the Lynx still behind by 16, but gradually shrinking the margin and trying to turn this one into an exciting home stretch.
adopt one, but it's not that kind of adopt one, you know? Correct.
Lorquette fields the inbounds and now gets the bounce back pass. They'll double him, spins into the lane, and Malik Lorquette can only keep him down for so long. And if you don't send the pressure early, which to their credit, the Lynx have by and large done this evening, that is going to be the result. Terrell Joseph around the screen, picked up there by Gully, and fouled on the baseline by Gully. 6th team foul for the Beacons. Next one will put Lesley on the line for 1-1. Trigger from the baseline. McCall fields it. On a sharp pass in close quarters, this one's going to be a breakout for the Beacons. Gully, Joy, Lorquette poked nicely away by McCall. And the Beacons, perhaps trying to operate a fast break in an elevator shaft, succumb to the pick from behind. On the outlet, and a 2-shot foul earned on the rush job there by Terrell Joseph. And the refs clarifying 2 shots from players who were perhaps expecting an out-of-bounds foul. It would have been 1-1 anyway. But it will be Terrell Joseph to the charity stripe looking for a pair. And he's now 0 for 2 from the line today. The team as a whole is just 4 for 12. And given that they're going to be shooting the rest of the way and trying to make a comeback from down 18, the foul shooting will be even more critical. 4 of 13. Lorquette out top, finds McKenzie. Now the pick and pop. Gully, corner 3, no good. Lorquette wins the rebound. Has it poked away and the pass goes astray. Ike Alua checking in, Bryson Gully heading back to the bench. Crunch time starting to come up for the Lynx as Malachi Howard strokes a 3 off the front of the rim. Bounce pass ahead, Bobby Joy back to Alua. And Malachi Howard can't believe the call. The arms came down, but was it enough? He wonders to justify the foul call. Ike Alua is going to take the 2 shots nevertheless. And a clarification, actually. Howard had right to complain. It wasn't his foul. The foul goes against DJ Alexander. 4th team foul for the Lynx as Ike Alua rattles out the first of 2. Alua, the sophomore, out of Princeton, New Jersey, got a few minutes at times last season, was a part of the rotation for sure, and is now perhaps being expected to play an expanded role after the team had some departures, particularly that of Charles and Charlie Mitchell from the program. The offensive spark plug and the leading scorer, respectively. And the officials conferring. And now we'll clarify with a scorer's table what's supposed to be happening. And a clarification of the foul from our PA announcer, Chris Del Sordo. The foul assessed to number 11, Mariano Oliver Rodriguez. That is his 3rd. It is not assessed to Malik Lorquette, who remains with 2 personal fouls. The Beacons have 3 players with 3 fouls. It would be Zayas Rodriguez and Bobby Joy. as Barlow knocks down the front end of the 1-and-1. DJ Alexander, the only Lynx player with 3 fouls. The rest of them have kept their hands to themselves for the most part. As a welcome sight for the Lynx as Barlow knocks down a pair. Maybe the first pair of free throws that Lesley has knocked down today. And it comes at an opportune time. The Beacons going to have one more opportunity to foul and still have it be 1-and-1. Everything else from that point on is going to be a 2-shot foul one way or the other. Bobby Joyce serving. Oliver Rodriguez comes up to take it. Bobby Joy, open 3. Rattles out. Alua with a beautiful rebound and earns a pair of free throws. Ike Alua and Malik Lorquette, both of them with long arms and springs in their shoes, have been pulling in offensive rebounds like nobody's business. Alua more so in the second half. He's got a handful of rebounds after the break. Lorquette has 10 rebounds to offset having only attempted 3 shots. And Alua knocks down the first of 2. The Beacons now 13 for 18 from the charity stripe. That'll get the job done. The Lynx 6 of 15 and looking to improve it as the Beacons have them in the bonus halfway home in the second half. And Alua completes the set. 9.5 minutes to go and an 18-point lead to close for the Lynx. As once again the Beacons pressing full court, keeping their hand on the throttle. Howard takes in the backcourt. Hezekiah Brown now. And a blocking foul as Oliver Rodriguez got a little bit too aggressive trying to steal the sideline. Back to the line for 1-and-1 goes Hezekiah Brown. He's 0 for 1 from the charity stripe so far today. 67% on the season. As Zayas and McKenzie check in. Mariano Oliver Rodriguez checks out. He is the first player on either team with 4 fouls. And now Hezekiah Brown with 1-and-1. And earns the second. Misfires on the second, and Lorquette snatches the rebound. He's out there with Zayas and Delua, McKenzie, and Bobby Joy. Hezekiah Brown shares the company of DJ Alexander, Malachi Howard, Christian Castro, and Jelani Morgan, who's acquitted himself rather well. Joy with a fake, Joy with a drive, skip pass, McKenzie, covered nicely by Hezekiah Brown. 6 seconds to shoot, and Zayas knows it. Into the middle. Over the shoulder, pump fake, tough shot, no good. And Hezekiah Brown inhales the rebound. In transition, Zayas picks his pocket from behind. 3-on-2 the Beacons run. Alua in the middle, straight to the rim. And an offensive foul on Ike Alua. Barreled straight through Christian Castro. And a well-covered 3-on-2 for the Lynx. Beacons back to the press. And a foul there. Zayas getting in the way, looking a bit bemused, but you stick your hips into the offensive player's path like that, more often than not, you'll be drawing a whistle for yourself. Into the double bonus now. The Beacons have put the Lynx. And so 2 shots the rest of the way out, and now all of a sudden, Zayas, Rodriguez, and Alua, all with 4 fouls. Rodriguez already hit the bench. Alua and Zayas will stay out there. The former coming off the bench, the latter a starter in today's game. And Hezekiah Brown splits another pair. 2 of 5 from the charity stripe for him. 5 of 10 on the second half for the Lynx, and 8 of 19 overall for just a 42% clip. Lorquette to work on the block, over the shoulder, off the back of the rim and out. 64-48, Beacons over Lynx with 8.5 minutes to go. And for UMass Boston, trying to even up their record, get it to 2-2. For Lesley, trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat and get their first win of the season in their 6th game. Lorquette read the pass and picked it off. Alua once again leading the fast break. This time, no one to stop him from getting to the rim, but the layup with a little bit too much mustard on it. And McKenzie will pull back off the offensive rebound. Oliver Rodriguez prepared to check back in. Remember, he has the 4 fouls, as does Zayas, who fields the ball, as does Alua in the post. McKenzie with 6 seconds to shoot around the screen, and Malik Lorquette called for the moving pick. 3 personal fouls for Lorquette. Timeout with just inside of 8 minutes to play. Beacon still holding on to a 16-point lead, with the foul trouble being the only real worry on the horizon.
None of them. I would like a Toyota Prius. How come we never rapped about that? Prius instead, but he's not rapping about that. Have you ever heard anybody rapping about their Prius? Exactly. Why not? Let me know what you think, but I'd kind of be down to just like go to the upcoming schedule production team and sign off. I'm kind of been quoting the stats of people for a while, and also not gonna lie, in a blowout like this, I don't know how often people are sticking around anyway.
Skip final stats.
It's like 4 or 5 go.
Display the graphics, and then you can do upcoming schedule.
Thank you very much.
Castro, Howard, Brown, Alexander, and Morgan out there for the Lynx, and it's Castro swishing home, or banking home, excuse me, the lefty layup. Lead is down to 14. It's Zayas, Joy, Oliver Rodriguez, Lorquette, and McKenzie out there trying to hold off the Lynx for Beacon's coach Jason Harris, the organizer and the creator of the Black Coaches Classic that you're watching right now. Pull-up jumper McKenzie looking for the foul, but he's not going to get it as the ball sails out of bounds back to the Lynx. It's the late game on Thanksgiving weekend. We thank you for joining us. I'm Milton Posner, bringing you this one on the Beacons Broadcast Network. And it's been an interesting one for UMass Boston, a well-rounded showing after a game where it's only Lorquette was the major knock. Outlet pass, Bobby Joy with nobody to beat, and an easy layup for the junior guard. Joy's got 11 points, the second Beacon in double figures after Xavier McKenzie's 16. And a media timeout again, 6:45 to go, and the Beacons looking to pull away. 6.5 minutes to play with for a Lesley team in need of a miracle for their first win. Hezekiah Brown on the drive, strong to the bucket. And Oliver Rodriguez kept getting pushed back until he was underneath the rim. Remember, 3 Beacons have 4 fouls. Oliver Rodriguez is one of them. Zayas handling the ball is another. And that's an easy look for Xavier McKenzie for his 18th point. Ika Lua, the 3rd Beacon with 4 fouls, is on the bench at the moment. Hezekiah Brown to the same spot. And this time it's a foul on the floor. That'll be it for Mariano Oliver Rodriguez. His 5th foul, he's gone. And Hezekiah Brown, who has been the offensive spark plug for Lesley in the last 3 or 4 minutes, will go back to the charity stripe where he is 2 of 5. And Ika Lua with 4 fouls will enter the game again. And where the Beacons have been fouling up a storm in the second half, they hit the double bonus a while back. And lost count at this point, but I have to imagine at least the 13th foul for them. As Bobby Joy, perhaps thinking that was a 1-1, hopped his way into the lane. And is told now from the bench to box out the shooter. Hezekiah Brown splits yet another pair. That is his 3rd split pair of free throws of the evening. He's 3 of 7. The team overall is 9 of 21, for a clip of just above 40% from the line. Joy, beautiful pass into Alua, but a bit too hot to handle. Lorquette's blocked on the retry. Malachi Howard getting a piece. And the Lynx will go the other way. 15-point deficit to cut into. Oh, and Malachi Howard with an unforced travel. And he's not saying a word to the referees. He strolls back down court. We have seen a couple of those. One for the Beacons and 2 for the Lynx. Those travels up top where guys just maybe aren't paying the closest of attention. Bobby Joy, foul line jumper, rattles out. And Hezekiah Brown once again pushing the issue in transition. Around the screen, into the mid-range, pull up. No good, but that's an easy pull. Oh no! Howard missed the gimme, and Hezekiah Brown with another offensive rebound. Out for 3, no good. Batted up in the air, and Zayas leaps up to grab it. So a bunny for Malachi Howard on the 2nd of 3 attempts. But still no dice. Zayas, shifty, drive to Lorquette in the dunker spot. He lays it up and in. His 3rd bucket of the evening to go along with his 11 rebounds. And the Beacons back up by 17. Castro on the drive, dump off pass. Howard gets Lorquette in the air. And a foul on somebody. Only question is it Alua? If so, he's done. Indeed it is. The 2nd Beacon to foul out in the last couple of minutes. He will join Mariano Oliver Rodriguez on the bench. Carson Mezwar will get his first minutes of the game in relief. And the last 4 fouler, Emmanuel Zayas, is still out there. Malachi Howard, 0 for 1 from the line tonight. Will try to bring his team's clip up from its current 43%. And will. With all the fouls, it's been slow going in the second half for both these squads, but particularly for the Beacons. They have now committed, again, the scoreboard's going to stop at 10, but by my rough estimate, 14 or 15 fouls in the 15 and a half minutes we have played after halftime. And Malachi Howard gets the roll on the 2nd of 2. And Madison McCall, despite being exhorted not to foul, gets a little bit too into Bobby Joy's path on the far sideline. So that's the 6th team foul for the Lynx. The next one will put UMass Boston on the line, where they've been shooting at about 70% so far this evening. Lorquette to Carson Meswar, who misses everything. The lead has been anywhere from 15, 14 points up to about 20 for the entirety of the second half. It peaked for the Beacons at 24 points. And the Beacons relatively unhurried at this stage of the game with a 15-point lead to protect and only 4 minutes to burn. McKenzie, foul line jumper. Not this time, but Lorquette snags the offensive rebound. Poked away by Brown. And Barlow on the outlet. Castro on the receipt. And McKenzie with beautiful defense without fouling. Collects the rebound himself to boot. Zayas puts him in the spin cycle. What a pass to Lorquette! Are you kidding me with the smoothness of these Beacons? 17-point lead. And if that is the capper, what a fitting capper it proves to be. Another media timeout with a few minutes left to play, and the icing almost on the cake.
It's okay. I've got it here. That is a very sexy couple of points right there. That scratched the itch. That was very nice. What's the rest of your weekend looking like? What's the rest of your weekend looking like? Well, you could. Never a better time to hop on headset then. See how I've got. So I tutor writing on the side. I've got like 5 or 6 sessions scheduled like back to back to back. So I'm going like noon tonight. It's like a lot, but the hourly rate is pretty good because we don't stack them like that. So it'll be like it's gonna be a long day, but it's gonna be a good earning day. It's University of California's deadline for basketball.
Yeah. Zayas forces it across the midcourt line and almost got caught in no man's land, but Carson Meswar gets the bucket. And this is what happens when you break the press. The opportunities will be available. A pick off by Lorquette and a one-handed flush. The exclamation point for the Beacons as the lead balloons to 21. And the last-ditch effort for the Lynx fizzles out in the last few minutes. Malik Lorquette, quiet all game on the offensive side, mostly by virtue of the defensive pressure that Devin Mayo's Lynx squad was throwing at him, forcing him to be a distributor. Gets his chance in the open floor. He's now in double figures and has earned himself a double-double. 10 points on 5 of 8 shooting, 12 rebounds. Also in double figures, Bobby Joy with 11 points, courtesy of his 3 three-pointers. And Xavier McKenzie leading the way with 18 points on 6 field goals and 6 free throws. Carson Meswar receives the pass, kicks out of the double team. Beacons playing keep away at this point. And failing. Out of bounds off of Xavier McKenzie, who has otherwise had a terrific game, but the turnovers honestly have come more from elsewhere than anything else. It's Malik Lorquette's got 7 of the 15 for the Beacons. Scott Barlow looked like he lost track of that one on the way up. Slapped away by McKenzie. Got bodies on the floor. Beacons are playing 4-on-3 as Howard lopes in to join them. McKenzie had Bobby Joy underneath the basket, took it himself. And Barlow and Donaldson, the two number 35s, finally rejoining the action after getting tangled up on the floor underneath the basket. And Joe Johnson checking in for Barlow, seeing some action down the stretch of this one. His first action of the day. It comes in a 21-point game. Zaya spins out of trouble here. 2.5 minutes to go. McKenzie with a little floater in the lane. He's got 20. And a career high for Xavier McKenzie continues to get sweeter. Malachi Howard with a pickup and can't quite get it to fall. This should put the Beacons in the 1-1 bonus. Oh no, the foul's on McKenzie. Excuse me, so it will put Joe Johnson just into the game at the line. Johnson taking his time, lining it up off the back of the rim. 11 of 26 from the free throw line for the Lynx. And another split pair. 43% from the foul line for Devin Mayo's Lynx team. If they had shot, let's say about 70%, you're probably talking about 9 or 10 more points. It would not have closed the gap, but this would certainly be a different sort of game. Francois gets it back from Nike Armstrong. Francois, couple shake and bake moves. Pass goes awry, gets it back. Dump off Mezwar, no good. Put back Malik Brooms, no good. Rebound clutched by Eamon Amgar, who's just checked in. Save from going out of bounds. Kick, corner, swing. A little bit of Butterfinger ball being played here in the last couple of minutes. And UMass Boston ultimately recovers. Fidendi Francois bringing the ball up around the screen. Kicks to Mezwar. Back to Francois, driving the baseline. Up to the rim, no good. And the rebound by Joe Johnson. More free throws coming for the Lynx. Their 19th and 20th attempts of the second half. Going to just check this one to make sure I have got this right. The Beacons have, in the second half, committed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 fouls that have produced all of these trips to the free throw line for the Lynx. The ones where they've been shooting about just south of 50%. Actually make it 40, just south of 45, excuse me. 21-point lead still for the Beacons has survived the whole free throw parade. As we move inside of a minute, Malik Brooms throwing it off the defender, but draws the foul. So this should be 1-1 for the Beacons. As Carl Dorsainville picks up the foul. And the officials clarifying it is in fact 1-1. Took them a second. But the scorer's table making them aware. For the Beacons, poised to put up their highest point total of the season with a pair from the foul line here. They scored 79 against Colby Sawyer in their last game and lost by 1. And they have equaled that total here. The fewest points they have given up this season would be 59 against Salve Regina. Still a chance to better that mark here. And they'll stay at 79. Pushing it up is Amgar. And scores. Right to the rack. And you got some Eamon Amgar fans in the stands clearly when waiting for their chance to make some noise. Mezwar in what's going to be The Beacons' last competitive possession. Kick back to Meswar. Fires along 2. That is good. A season-high 81 points for the Beacons. And they have done it in a game where they put the defense together as well. Well-rounded contributions. A stat sheet full and balanced and satisfied for them. The three-point attempt goes awry, rebounded by Meswar, and that will do it. In Thanksgiving weekend, the nightcap of the Black Coaches Classic, UMass Boston takes this one in decisive fashion, 81-59 over the Lesley Lynx. And a very happy Jason Harris sees his team clean up at the event he created. Xavier McKenzie, the freshman, leading the way with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a couple of blocked shots. Malik Lorquette and Bobby Joy in double figures as well. On the Lynx side, 8 points apiece for Malachi Howard, Scott Barlow, Jelani Morgan. 6 or more points for McCall, Joseph, Castro, Alexander, and Brown, but nobody quite cracking double figures. In a balanced attempt to be sure, but one where the offense did not quite muster the firepower and the defense could not stop the Beacons in the first or second half to the degree that they needed. So Lesley has got some questions to solve, and they know it. It's a newer team. They're still trying to gel. UMass Boston's got some issues they'd like to resolve as well. But for Jason Harris, any number of upsides to look at today, particularly the play of Xavier McKenzie. Perfect from the foul line, 50% from the field, and making things happen all over the court, including defensively as well. The Beacons are going to take on Riviere next. That's a road game at 7 p.m. 4 days from now. They are back at home to start conference play against Eastern Connecticut State University. That's going to be on December 3rd at 3 p.m. Going to say a quick thank you to our production crew before we sign off, and to everyone who helps make this broadcast possible. Working on the broadcast or on the organizational side, our producer Mike Vesci for all the information needs and the coordination that he does. The Albano sisters, Elena and Gina, helping out up here with me. I've been Milton Posner. Once again, your final score, 81-59, Beacons over Lynx. Thank you so very much for watching, and have a great rest of your evening.